Did they say freaking, Will?
They did.
Oh, did they really? I guess so they
They
could
did.
actually say it on the radio and stuff.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Podcasting wasn't a thing back then.
There's a trophy on your shelf. Does it belong to someone else? Well, we're gonna let you know on the Reward Show.
Hello. Welcome to the Reward Show, episode 4, attempt 3. This is it's been a long road getting here, Sam.
It's been a long road indeed, but as you can see, we have a lot more toys to work with. We have a lot of bells and whistles. We're on video now, and it's taken us a few tries to get to this spot. But we are proud of where we are now, and we know we're going to deliver a great episode today. We're warmed up and ready to go. We're well warmed up, and we can't wait to talk about this season of baseball.
Let's talk about 2003, Sam.
Let's.
How old were you in 2003?
I was 3. So
You're 3.
I have no memory of this. You're a little older than me, so I know you have.
Yeah.
Do you have
I
any
was
memory
6.
of this season? Okay.
Boy, do I. This was the first season that I got into baseball.
Wow.
So 2003, in the midst of the steroid era, I guess we're kind of nearing the end of it because it starts with Canseco and McGuire in the late 80s. And then it ends around 07, maybe, with A-Rod's big years.
Sure, yeah. I guess it's funny. I don't even consider A-Rod. Steroid era to me, I think of 3 people, and it's Bonds, McGuire, and Sosa. Those are the big 3. But A-Rod
Roger
is
Clemens.
like, oh, sure. I guess I'm thinking of batters. But when you're thinking of batters, A-Rod that's his peak years too. You know, he's playing throughout the 90s. I mean, he was on those was it early 90s Mariners teams with Ken Griffey Jr. and Edgar?
Late
90s.
So he was like, he came up in 95, I think.
Okay.
And he played there until 2000. So him and Ichiro just missed each other.
Wow. Imagine a world where they held on to him or they paid him.
Imagine a world where Ichiro, A-Rod, Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr., and Randy Johnson play on the same team.
Those are like 5 of the top 25 guys ever.
Yeah.
You know? And I'd say top
definitely of this era.
Oh, for sure.
You got some big names that are the faces of baseball in 2003. You got Alex Rodriguez. You got an aging or pretty much aged Roger Clemens who's still shoving. Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez, Barry Bonds.
This is a weird convergence of talent that I never watched from the 90s, but I'm familiar with, and guys that I grew up watching and are now retired, but were kind of like childhood staples of mine and yours, I bet. So it's really funny to see guys on the sheet together like that.
Yeah, we have a year 3 from both Ichiro and Pujols. Now, I was thinking about this. Has there ever been a year where the 2 rookies of the year turned out as well as they did?
I doubt we ever see that again.
We might with Acuna and Ohtani.
Oh, were they rookie of the year in the same year?
2018.
That's awesome. Didn't realize that, or I guess I probably could have guessed it, but I don't know, man. That's still asking a lot of. They're both amazing.
It's asking a lot of Acuna.
You're asking Acuna to be Ichiro or Pujols levels. And
I think you're asking Acuna to be Ichiro because Ohtani is already. He's gonna maybe surpass Pujols. Ohtani is.
When you're like thinking all-time players, it's weird. If he continues this trajectory and hits 40 to 50 home runs every single year,
he might surpass Bonds.
He could do it, and that's crazy to think about because it still feels like I don't know, man. It feels like we're living in the peak right now, so obviously anything can happen. But his batting has not taken a dip. He's only ascending. He's only getting better every single season. And Pujols, obviously, amazing stint with the Cardinals. mediocre. I guess you could call it altogether a mediocre stint with the Angels, and then one final.
Mhm.
His last year with the Cardinals in 22 was better than
It
every
still
year with
baffles
the Angels.
me.
He just likes it there, I
It's
guess. I don't know,
still
man.
baffles me. Still,
Yeah,
it was incredible. You can't write it.
no, I can't write
It's
it. And
insane.
I honestly think, and this might be a little biased to me, but probably not. If he stayed in St. Louis the whole time, things would be different. You never know what's going to happen.
I hate it because
Yeah,
Acuna's looking like baseball's Derrick Rose. Like it lines
right,
up almost identically.
right. This
It's
is not going to be
crazy.
a big season. Is he starting opening day roster like healthy enough to do
No,
that?
he'll
No.
be out for the first 6 weeks, and so will
Okay.
Strider. But let's look at 2003.
Mhm.
How much research did you do in the 30 minutes that I gave you?
None. I made myself a sandwich and watched half an episode of Severance. Is what I did.
And that is the kind of diligent work we do here at Boulder Baseball and on the Reward Show.
You can't get it
Um,
anywhere else.
no. So, 2003, Sam, off the top of your head, do you know who won the World Series?
Yes, it was the Florida Marlins, and they beat the New York Yankees, I believe.
They did. Do you
So,
remember? Do you know how the Yankees got to the World Series? Like what the big moment was?
maybe I know there was like a Jeter moment catching a ball, like running straight into a tarp. Was that this season or was that
That
2004?
was 2004, I
Okay.
believe, and that was
Um,
regular season. I
regular
think
season. Gotcha.
against
That's the only
the Red
like thing I
Sox.
can attribute to that. Um,
So this was the Aaron Boone year.
oh, where he hit a clutch homer.
He hit a walk-off homer in Game 7 off
Yeah,
Tim Wakefield, rest in peace, to go to the World Series.
that's
And
awesome.
that's
Yeah.
and the next day, uh, Red Sox media and radio and all this, just all of them were saying Aaron freaking Boone, like of all people, Aaron freaking
Uh-huh.
Boone, and that became his kind
Uh-huh.
of quote unquote nickname.
Did they say freaking, Will?
They did,
Oh, did they really? I guess so they
they
could
did,
actually say it on the radio and stuff.
yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. Podcasting wasn't a thing back then.
You're right. True. No, I do remember what you're talking about now. Obviously, I didn't
Mhm,
watch it live or anything like that, but I've seen that. You watch any like best playoff moment highlight tape like that, and that's on there. So
mhm. And also the World Series this year. Uh, who's the World Series MVP? Josh Beckett. Josh Beckett. What a guy.
doesn't have that in my bag. The only thing I can tell you about this Marlins team is that Miggy is on it, like a baby Miggy, right?
Hmm.
That's kind
Oh
of the
yeah.
only thing I got from this Marlins team.
I think Miguel Cabrera debuts this year and hits a walk-off homer in his debut.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty
Well,
sure that happened.
he's 27th in MVP voting this year. And wow, he plays with Florida for a minute. I didn't realize he plays 5 years. He did debut this year. He played in
Hmm.
87 games. Wow, I didn't realize that he was with Florida for as long as he was, like a decent
He
chunk.
he went to the Tigers in the trade that also sent it was him and Dontrell Willis getting traded there in 2007.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So was he even the big piece of that back then?
No, it was like 2003. I mean, he was good. Got
Right.
MVP votes.
Right.
Josh Beckett, Dontrell Willis, AJ Burnett.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Pudge might have been on this team. Ivan Rodriguez.
This is like a team that's not iconic. Like you're gonna look back and be like, I'm glad they got one. But
Hmm.
this is to me like we'll see like how the cookie crumbles. But it's almost like if that Arizona Diamondbacks team from 2023 had broke through and won one, where you're like, yeah, in the moment, like these are some great guys. Like, they have a
And
couple
you're gonna
guys that
it
could
would be
be
and Corbin Carroll would be the Miguel Cabrera kinda.
exactly like a young guy debuting and you know, helping a team that's not necessarily like in the thick of it, like make it all the way to the World Series and in the Marlins case win it against like you would think a juggernaut.
Let me
I'm
see.
looking at it right now. It was a 6 game series. Yankees only got
Mhm.
2. They were up
Yeah.
2-1, and Florida came back and won. They won in the 12th inning to tie the series in Game 4, and then they won Games 5 and 6. So they just took that momentum and rode it the rest of the way.
Uh, over the next 2 years after winning this World Series,
Hmm.
the Marlins trade away Derek Lee, Mark Redmond, Brad Penny, Carl Pavano, and Ivan
Yeah,
Rodriguez. It's the tail of the tape. for the Marlins.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah, they even their wild card appearance from 2022, I believe, or maybe it was 2023. I think there's only like 4 guys on that roster, and that was like 2 years ago. The Marlins, this is insane to me. So they made the playoffs twice in their first like 15 years of existence. Never
Mhm.
lost a playoff series.
Yeah.
Won the World Series in '97. Won the World Series in '03. Did not make the playoffs again until the 2020 expanded playoffs, and even then they beat the Cubs in the first round, which shouldn't have happened. And
I
everyone was like,
remember.
"We still haven't lost a playoff series."
Yeah, I remember that they were like still undefeated in playoff play. It was kind
Mhm.
of like the Terry Francona situation, where until like he managed the 2004 and 2007 Red Sox, and both teams swept in
Mhm.
the World Series. First, let's talk about the American League. What do you say?
Let's do it. We always jump in AL first, but I like it because you and I are National
It's
League guys, so we like to
it's
save that sort
alphabetical.
of talk.
It's
A
nice.
versus N. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got to eat the vegetables before you get to like the dessert. That's how I feel.
exactly. All right, here we go. Look at these names. Yeah.
Yeah, these are some guys that I'm much more familiar with than some of our previous episodes. Um, Alex Rodriguez for Texas. Am I
Hmm.
reading that right?
Yeah, he played there
Wow.
for 3 years.
I knew that, but it was like, I feel like I know nothing. I know his Mariners tenure well. Obviously, his Yankees tenure is famous for many reasons, but the Texas
Mhm.
stint in the middle, I feel like the thing people remember is like the contract negotiation and the trade.
Well,
Like that's
my first introduction to A-Rod
mhm,
was as a Ranger because he was on the
mhm.
cover of Backyard Baseball,
Mm,
and so that's
yeah,
what I
you're a
was playing at
gamer.
this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And dang, he puts up a season. He's playing short at this point, correct?
mhm.
Yeah, so 8.4 WAR at short, just
And it's
towering over the rest of the league. Oh my god.
yeah, look at that. The only one with a close to him WAR as a position player, no one.
Mhm.
There's no
No one.
position players with
Mhm.
an over a 6 WAR except for Nomar Garciaparra, who's another shortstop.
Right. Right. Yeah. So you can compare them, and so even if Garcia Parra is a better defensive shortstop, I mean, A-Rod is like one of the best hitters of all time.
Mhm.
I still think you can argue that. I know the steroid thing gets a little iffy for people, but like I said about Barry Bonds in a later episode or whatever, taking steroids does not make them worse at the action of hitting a baseball,
No.
or
It doesn't
better.
help hand-eye
They're
coordination. It just
no
helps you hit the ball farther.
47 home runs, leagues, both leagues.
Mhm.
That's funny. He did have 17 stolen bases.
Mhm.
And what I think is also massive is he has 87 walks. There's a few guys with more walks on here, but not very many. The fact that he was that disciplined too speaks to how good a hitter he was.
People forget about his speed. I mean,
Yeah.
he has a 40-40 season.
Oh, he
He's one
does.
of
Yeah.
in 98.
118 RBI. That's also second in the American League, just behind, I think it was Delgado that you can see there. Yeah,
Mhm.
Delgado was 145 on the
Jeez.
Toronto team with who was in that Toronto team because not a single other player from that Toronto team is in the top
Yeah,
25 MVP guys.
Orlando Hudson, Eric Hinsky, Vernon
Okay.
Wells, Shannon Stewart, Reed
Yeah.
Johnson.
These are some guys.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Vernon Wells leads both leagues in hitting or in hits,
Okay.
finishes 8th in MVP voting.
So he got on base a lot for Delgado to
Yeah.
hit him in, but 145 is nasty work. That's a ton of RBI. Um,
Mhm.
42 home runs as well. So he got at least himself around the bases 42 times. Had 109
Leads
walks
the
too.
American
So
League in OPS.
gosh, Delgado. This is actually a pretty close up at the top between Rodriguez and Delgado for me. This is awesome.
Sam, you're contradicting yourself.
And what? Oh my god. Oh my god. I see it. He has 0 stolen bases. Okay. That rule needs to not be so hard and like strict as I've attributed it before
Mhm.
to people. It's never come up in conversation like this before though. Like I'm now gonna have to make a decision of how much this applies.
Mhm.
Delgado, what position was he?
First base.
Okay. So we got a big boy at first base who mashes. His slug is slightly below Rodriguez. Rodriguez has a 600 slug. That's crazy.
Mhm.
To average that across the whole season is insane. I see he doesn't lead both leagues in it, so that must mean either Bonds or Pujols probably leads the entire league in slug.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about them. I'm so excited.
But that
Um,
the
mhm,
early 2000s with Bonds and Pujols,
yeah,
it was like a toss up, you know.
right. Bonds definitely stole some MVPs from Pujols. Just like not like I say stole, like they could have gone to either of them, but the fact
Especially
that
2004.
yes, and we'll talk about that eventually. But I'm
Yeah.
really excited to get there.
Mhm.
Uh, Man, this is really close actually. If I if I take away my dumb stolen base rule I have,
Mhm.
this
M
actually really
Manny
gets
Ramirez, look at Manny
yeah.
in 6th.
Manny Ramirez in sixth place has 427 on base percentage, 587 slug, a 1.014 OPS, which is only oh my god, that's like so far. Delgado has a 1.019 OPS. Manny Ramirez
Mhm.
has a 1.014 OPS. That's insane.
Uh, who else? Beltran has a great year. That's
Yeah.
307, 26 homers, 41
Mhm.
stolen bases.
That's insane. Sidebar, Beltran was really close to getting into the Hall of Fame this year. I thought some of that Astros stuff might affect his career a little bit more in terms of that. I don't think it will. It sounds like he'll get in within the next year or two.
Yeah.
And what'll he go in as? A Royal? I think of him as a Met personally.
I think he'll go in as a Met.
Yeah, I just think about specifically the '06 CS where like the Cardinals and Mets went to war,
His
but
2006 was insane. He had a
he
great year that year.
He's awesome, and he's a guy that's played for a lot of teams, but,
Mhm.
um, started as a Royal, and I think I forget that.
Yeah.
He had a great season here. He had let's see, he only played in 141 games,
Mhm.
but he had let's see here, I'm trying to read it, 102 runs, 160 hits, 26 home runs. Yeah, he's, like, significantly lower than a lot of guys in a lot of these stats here, but, um, I mean, these are great seasons. Everybody that's listed on here
You know how I like to talk about guys who how I like to question why some guys are so high on the list?
right.
Shannon Stewart,
What place is he in?
4th.
Oh, wow. I was looking way lower than that. Shannon Stewart, it says total. So he played for multiple teams this year.
Mhm.
Um, he had a 3.1 WAR, not impressive. He had what I mean, good, but like not MVP level. Played 136 games, so significant games off. 90 runs, 176 hits. That's fair. 13 home runs, not impressive. 73 RBI, not impressive. 4 stolen bases. Yeah, there's nothing impressive on this. 823 OPS. I feel like you got to have at least a 9 to be like in this conversation. Like he's
Mhm.
like polar bear in Arlington, Texas compared to the guys around him. Who even is Shannon Stewart? I don't know who this guy is.
Played for Toronto. Where he
Sure.
started with Toronto, and then they traded
Okay.
him to Minnesota mid-season.
Okay. Sure.
Uh,
Yeah. Two teams that I don't really know anything about the early 2000s. Did he like save a baby? Like put
I
out a
don't know what's
fire
going
in the
on.
middle of the season?
He gets 3 first place votes?
That's craziness. Above David Ortiz. He's one spot above David Ortiz, who does he has a higher batting average than David Ortiz, but
3
nothing
people
else.
3 people looked at Shannon Stewart's season and said he was better than Alex Rodriguez.
We're always gonna find someone who was stupid and voted like just
We found
objectively
3
incorrectly.
people.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
the Rangers were bad, so
Yeah.
that's maybe part of it. But
Sure, but like
how do you look at Shannon Stewart and Carlos Delgado,
uh-huh.
who for a little bit were teammates, and say Shannon Stewart was better?
Yes, very true. And even still, if Alex Rodriguez was on a bad team and was putting up numbers like 127 runs and where's his RBI? 118 RBI versus Shannon Stewart's 73
Mhm.
on two at least slightly more relevant teams in the Rangers. I don't know how good the Twins were in 2003, but
They're
like what are
pretty
we
good.
doing? Are they yeah, Twins won 90 games, so never mind, but the Blue Jays won 86 and the Rangers were bad. They were 71 wins.
Yeah.
They were third worst in the American League behind the Devil Rays at 63 wins. Detroit Tigers, 43 and 119.
But they were terrible.
That's
They're-
bad. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is between Rodriguez or Delgado. There's some good seasons down below, but I think it's between those two guys.
Alex Rodriguez in 2003, 8 runs saved. Really good.
Yeah, that's solid. Delgado at first base. Vinny Pasquantino just went on a podcast and talked about how WAR does not attribute good fielding numbers to first baseman. And he
Mhm.
made some really good points. And first baseman is a position that I greatly value and appreciate as someone who's watched a lot of great first basemen go on my favorite team.
Mhm.
He's so right, though. As the guy who receives the ball on nearly every single fielding play and has to make a play and be accurate. Right. Like, what did he say? The guy who won the Gold Glove at first base, Christian Walker, was attributed like a negative fielding WAR.
Mhm.
And you ask everyone in the league in 2024 who is the best first baseman defensively, and every single person will tell you Christian Walker, and his stats rank out negatively. It just shows you that math is negatively affecting first basemen and what they are able to accomplish on the field. So I don't take WAR defensively. I don't count it. I count it, and this might be like a little bias in my head. If it's in helping your numbers, good for you. At certain positions, especially at first base, if it's like attributing negative numbers to you, I don't hold that against you because it's very clear that those stats are working against you.
I hardly ever even take fielding into account for a third baseman or
Yeah.
for a first baseman. For a first
Right.
baseman, it's
Definitely.
like if you're an overwhelming,
Mm.
like great defensive first baseman, like a Keith Hernandez or an Albert Pujols,
Uh-huh.
then yeah, great.
Right.
But if you're like, I don't know, Vladdy Jr.,
If you're Luis
Oh.
Arias,
yeah, I don't care as
Sure.
long as you can hit.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, it might be a little different for Luis Arias because he's very bad at everything.
except for hitting line drives.
Sure, but
Bloopers.
yeah,
Yeah.
If Carlos Delgado has like a negative defensive run saved or something, I'm not going to hold that against him whatsoever.
Mhm.
So we got to make a pick here, Will. Between those two guys, are you agreeing it's between those two guys?
Yeah, and I'm going A-Rod.
Yeah. Pitch me. I'm still a little bit on the fence of either, but I get why.
I mean, it's kind of an intangible thing, you
Yeah.
know, because if you were to ask anyone who is a better baseball player,
Right.
Alex Rodriguez or Carlos Delgado,
Yeah.
everyone's going to say Alex Rodriguez. You know,
Yeah.
even back then, I think this might have been the year that Delgado had his 4-homer game. That might help. But A-Rod's a Gold Glove defender at shortstop, the hardest defensive position other than maybe catcher.
Uh-huh.
He leads the league in homers. He has a great batting average, and he goes out there and he plays every day. And he's the only good player on a terrible team. So that's why.
Yeah, to put up all those stats on a not good Texas
Like,
Rangers team.
You're not going to get any good pitches, you know.
No. Yeah, and to mash that much, slugging at 600 is crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with you. Alex Rodriguez stays with him.
All right. The 2003 AL MVP reward goes to Alex Rodriguez of the Texas Rangers. Let's go to AL Cy Young.
Let's do it. And off the rip, I mean, this Roy Halladay season, 8.1 WAR, 22 wins. We know we don't care about wins here.
Yeah.
I love a pitcher who pitches a lot of innings, though. 266 innings with an ERA of 3.25. Esteban is that Loaiza? Loaiza.
Great season.
Yeah, 226. So a lot less innings, but 2.9 ERA. Pedro Martinez with a 2.22 ERA, 186 innings, though. And that's significant.
Yeah. Tim Hudson.
I will put that against someone. Tim Hudson, 240 innings, 2.70 ERA. That's awesome. Let's look. I just like this too. Complete games. Okay. This might be the separator.
Yeah.
Roy Halladay had
This might be a short conversation.
Right. Roy Halladay. I know his ERA is a little higher, I know he still has 8.1 WAR. He has more hits allowed than anybody else on this list by quite a margin,
Mhm.
but he has 9 complete games, and 2 of those are some complete game shutouts.
Yeah.
But pitching 9 complete games, that just sets your team up for so much success in terms of setting your bullpen for the rest of a series. In terms of like the fact that he stayed out there tells me that in those 9 games, he was pitching efficiently enough to get through 9 whole innings that his team still had a chance to win in those 9 games.
Mhm.
He leads the league in wins with 22. Um,
He starts 36 games
uh-huh.
and only gives up 32 walks.
Oh my goodness. Less than a walk a game.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going back to just like the team's records this year. And where
I
was
mean,
it?
it's that Toronto team that
Yeah,
Granato is on.
right. Um, let's see. Toronto won 86 games, and you can attribute at least 9 of them to almost the sole efforts of Roy Halladay,
Mhm.
which is insane. I think this is a pretty open and shut case. I know he has a little worse stats at like ERA.
Like rate stats, yeah.
Yeah, like, and they're still great, but like other people have better stats than him in some areas. His whip is 1.071, and there's some guys that have like marginally smaller whips, but
Well, you go that deep
yeah,
into games, you're
right,
gonna start to lose it a little bit.
and that's
You know,
fine.
I think I
Yeah,
value more a guy that can go
mhm,
9 innings and
mhm,
win 8 out of the 10 games than a
yeah,
guy who goes 6 innings in
yeah,
and gets a no decision 5 times.
sure, exactly, and it's like fine. Your ERA is a little higher. It's because you did pitch that ninth inning and gave up a third run or whatever. You know,
Mhm.
I think this is easy. This is Roy Halladay.
Mhm. All right. Congratulations. The 2003 AL Cy Young Reward goes to Roy Halladay of the Toronto Blue Jays. Rest in peace. All
Rest in
right.
peace, indeed.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know we've talked a lot about how a lot of like legends have died, but it's extremely sad when it's like sudden and not natural like the way he died.
Yeah,
Um,
him, Kobe Bryant, Jose
yeah,
Fernandez. Yeah. Jose
right.
Fernandez wasn't really a legend, but like he was on his way.
He was on his way, and that's still just an emotional like that D Gordon home run is like one of the most emotional sporting events you can ever watch. So,
Oh, yeah.
yep. Not to get sad on everybody, but
Mhm.
it is nice to remember these guys, and I'm glad we can like remember them through this.
Yeah. If you want to hear about that season that we're talking about with Jose Fernandez and all that,
Mhm.
go listen to the 2016 episode. That's episode 2 or episode 3, and that is only audio. So, yeah. All right, let's go on to AL Rookie of the Year.
AL Rookie of the Year. I love Rookie of the Year.
Me too.
Okay, we got some fun names here,
Mhm.
which is really hilarious because I recognize very well 3 of these 5 guys.
Yeah, but one
Angel,
of them. Do you recognize one of them because he's a manager?
yes, I do. I'm gonna be honest, didn't know that he was. I mean, he was a player because like there's only like one manager that wasn't ever a player, and I think that's Mike Schilt.
Brian
Um,
Snicker,
was he never a player?
A minor
Really?
leaguer.
Okay. Um, but yeah, Rocco Baldelli, and who does he manage? The
Twins.
the Twins. That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's on this list. He's in 3rd place with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. It's funny
Mhm.
seeing that abbreviation TBD
Yeah.
versus just TB.
Like, who do you play for? To be determined.
Don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
Roki Sasaki until recently.
Yeah. I know. I can tell you, I'm not playing for. That's how I went
I
for a
know.
week.
I don't understand why he did that.
That
I
was a
don't think
weird
that's
rollout.
ever been done. It's like it was
Mhm.
like he was a high school football player, like posting. He's
Yeah,
narrowed down his choices to 4.
he's a commit, right?
Yeah,
Baby Gronk flips to the Dodgers.
he rizzed up Livy Dunn. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's crazy how like full circle that is considering Paul Skeens, but
Yeah.
uh anyway, how do I say
Anyway,
this guy's name? Angel Baroa.
Angel Baroa, I think.
Angel Baroa gets 1st place. Hideki Matsui in second place, who plays in a league high 163 games. Love when
Yep.
that happens. Rocco in third, and then Jody Garrett,
Garrett.
Jody Garrett, dumb way to spell Garrett, Gerut for
Change
Cleveland,
it.
and then Mark Teixeira,
Mhm.
Mark Teixeira in fifth place there.
Mark Teixeira. Every time I think of Mark Teixeira, I think of
Uh-huh.
that song that went viral by those two Braves fans when we got him midseason in 2007.
Yeah, dude, this is insanely close between Matsui and Baroa at the top here.
Yeah, in terms of voting.
Well, even just in their stats, I'm looking at all the averaging stats. The same exact batting average, 287. On base, Baroa has a 338. Matsuki has a 353, so just slightly above him. Slug, Baroa has a 451. And Matsui has a 435, so Baroa has a slight edge there. And then in their OPS, it's 789 to 788. Advantage Baroa. It's like nearly identical. They're just doing it in slightly different ways, but just barely different. The
Yeah.
counting stats are, I guess, so you can compare the counting stats pretty easily. And Baroa has more runs, a few less hits. They have like Baroa has 17 home runs, Matsui's 16. He has way less. Okay. This I feel like is like because the averaging stats are so comparable, like almost exact.
I think it comes down to what you value more,
Right.
RBI or stolen bases.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you that too. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think I value RBI more than stolen bases personally, especially when it's like it's kind of a vast difference. It's like a 33 RBI difference between a Burrow and Matsui. So I think Matsui, this is his award.
Well, I'm giving it to Matsui because he is one of the few baseball players that my girlfriend Eliza can name off the top of her head.
That's
So,
good for her. That's good for her.
Mhm.
My fiance Abby can tell you that I like Lars Nootbaar, and
who doesn't?
who doesn't like Lars Nootbaar? Her, and she kind of drops off a little bit after that. She knows some. This is a really funny story. She'll never listen to this, so I can tell it. When
Okay.
we first started dating or started talking, like before we even started dating, we're starting to get to know each other, and she knows I like baseball, and so I asked her what some of her favorite baseball players were. She's from Chicago. I'm from St. Louis, so naturally there was like a fun little banter there. But she said she was like a White Sox fan, just to like be different than the rest of her family. So I was like, okay, who's your favorite White Sox player? And just like straight face, she's like Jose Abreu. And
Abreu?
And so
No.
I, not like wanting to mess up like talking to a pretty girl, didn't want to correct her. And so I was like, oh, I like him too. And just like didn't say anything about
That's
the
the correct
pronunciation
thing
of
to
his
do.
name for a long time. And then finally, she like showed me that she had like a Jose Abreu. I know his name's Abreu. Like I had to say that. She like had a shirt that she like left back home. So like when she got back from college, when she had it with her, and I like accidentally let slip. And I was like, "Oh, is that your Jose Abreu shirt?" And she's like, "Abreu." And I was like, "Oh, all right, I got to tell you, I fibbed. I fibbed.
no.
I know that I was like, you say his name Abreu. You say his name Abreu." And she was like, "You've been letting me call him Jose Abreu for like 6 months." And I was just like, okay, he doesn't come up that often to where I could do that, but
Yeah.
I have been letting you do that. So he won the MVP the year that we actually started talking. So that's funny.
He had an incredible like first 5 years.
Yeah. We'll talk about the 2020 season eventually because that's like
Yeah.
so interesting and we have a lot of opinions on that.
I don't
but
even acknowledge it as a season,
It's weird. It's weird. And you're a Braves fan, and Freddie got his only MVP that time. So
Yeah, but
anyway, Freddie and Abreu. So
my girlfriend Eliza, if you ask her favorite player, she will say Derek Jeter #2.
Oh, at first I'm like, oh, he's your second favorite player, but I
No, Derek Jeter #2.
I think about the kid wearing the 2 hat, like the respect, that
Eliza
ad.
was at that game.
Really? I'm
The
jealous.
one where he hit the walk-off?
Yeah. So she's like an actual, like, she likes baseball.
Her dad's a big Yankees fan.
Okay.
And goes like every week. So
that's awesome.
She grew up going to him. Apparently she cussed out Manny Ramirez when she was like 6.
Got to teach him young. So.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
Yeah. Who do we give this award to? This is
the 2003 American League Rookie of the Year reward goes to Hideki Matsui of the New York Yankees.
I loved him. He's one of the few Yankees where it's just like that's one of the most likable guys in the league.
Oh yeah. And you
I
hate
will
it's hard to like a Yankees fan, especially from back then. Like I like
yeah,
Aaron Judge and I like Giancarlo Stanton. They've become
right.
much more likable since
Uh-huh.
Steinbrenner left
But
and
you don't,
everything.
like, love them.
Mm-mm.
I feel like people actually, like, really have an appreciation for Hideki Matsui in a different kind of way. Like, he was just such a fun guy to watch too.
Yeah.
I won't say it on the pod, but if you're listening, he is really, vocal about a certain addiction he has.
Look at these names.
All right, we got Dontrelle Willis. How do you Scott Podsednik?
Podsednik.
Podsednik. I'm actually not familiar with Podsednik.
Scott.
Not in my bag.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Am I wrong in thinking that Marlon Byrd was a Cub for a second?
He was.
Okay, I remember him as a Cub.
Mhm.
But then we also got Brandon Webb is in third. Marlon Byrd, Brandon Webb, Marlon Byrd. Byrd is in fourth. Miguel Cabrera fifth. Brad Lidge, fifth place. I remember him.
You Albert Pujols had a very famous moment against Brad Lidge.
Albert Pujols, I think, ended that man's career, and
He
that's not even
owned Brad
hyperbole. I
Lidge.
think he actually ended that man's career.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So
He's like, "Oh, you're throwing me a fastball? I'll send it to the moon."
the closest home run I can compare to that is Solaire's home
Well,
run.
same ballpark,
Yeah, same ballpark. So you
same
can
location.
like that stadium's like open air, and that like ball, I think both of those balls might have made it out of the ballpark. So yeah, Brad Lidge, I mean, still an awesome player. Like I
Mhm.
know, like that's the moment when people think of Brad Lidge, that is the one moment of his whole career that people think about
They
the
see
most.
they see the YouTube thumbnail
Yes, yeah, it's
of the
Albert
video.
Pujols like walk. I can see the exact pose Albert Pujols is in. It's almost like the Sasquatch photo, and he's on his
Mhm.
way to first base. Bat is still in hand. But yeah, insane. Let's see. Dontrelle Willis is in. He gets this award playing for the Florida Marlins. He has 17 first place votes, and then it's Scott Podsednik with 8, Brandon Webb with 7, and then no one else gets a first place vote. So he kind of ran away with this.
Look
And
at
I
Willis's
see
batting
what.
stats
Yeah. Oh my God. 240, 241, 279 on base,
as a
328
pitcher.
slug. Wait a second. I was like, these are kind of pedestrian. Whoa. I
Yeah,
see now. How many at bats did he have? 58. So that's like a healthy sample
he was
size
a
for a
good
starting
hitter. He
pitcher.
was a really good hitter.
Yeah, 606 OPS as a pitcher. Usually a pitcher, especially this era, is like an auto out.
Mhm.
Um, I guess that became over thing in the 2010s, but he held his own. 241. That's better than some actual actual hitters.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
3.3 ERA, a 1.2 WHIP, 160. And like this is a really really solid season for Willis.
Yeah.
Like you'll take this for a two, like your two pitcher. You'd be happy with this season from your number two pitcher.
But do we think it's better than Brandon Webb? Because I don't.
Brandon Webb. First thing I'm going to look at, ERA is lower. Second thing I'm going to
Mhm.
look at, innings pitched is higher.
Whip is lower, more
Do I need to
strikeouts,
look at anything else? Those two things, his whip being lower, his ERA being lower, his innings pitched being
more
higher.
strikeouts.
Or sorry, yeah, why did he not win this?
Because Willis was cool and
I mean,
wore his brim on his cap flat and had a high leg
oh,
kick.
sometimes the sauce gets you more
The
votes.
sauce got it. And
Yeah,
Brandon Webb was kind of overweight and had a
right. And
weird
his name's Brandon.
goatee. Yeah.
Yeah,
His name's
yeah,
Brandon,
true.
not Dontrell.
Dontrelle Willis is such a sick name.
His nickname D Train.
DJ, yeah.
What a
Also,
nickname.
it might be like reclaimed now, but those Florida jerseys are like
Oh,
some of the
they look good on anyone.
they're so awesome. The Florida
With the
Marlins
teal,
jerseys. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
teal sleeves with the teal helmet.
Those might be the best jerseys in baseball. Like when the
Oh.
Marlins wear those throwbacks, they're so good.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would agree. This is Brandon. I would give this to Brandon Webb. Even like some of the hitters, like I got Scott Podsednik, had a good season. 314 batting average. I mean, that's pretty nice.
43 steals.
Yeah, that's actually really good. 822. Like this is a
175
good season.
hits.
This is
Yeah,
a
but I
good
don't.
season. Yeah,
I think it's Webb.
I agree. I'm with you on Webb.
All right. Well, congratulations. The 2003 National League Rookie of the Year reward goes to Brandon Webb of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Is it Cy Young time?
Oh yeah. the Dodgers pitching coach is on here, Mark Pryor.
The current one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just took a glance at ERA plus, and I know Gagne doesn't have the like innings minimum to like be a qualified pitcher for that. But oh my god, 337 ERA plus, and that's I know like an accumulation of kind of everything they do, and because he had so little innings pitched compared to the other guys, it's inflated. But
Mm-hmm.
as a reliever, these relievers that do have inflated ERA plus, you don't see a 337. You know,
No.
you'll see a high 100, you'll see a like 200s.
Well, okay. 2016, Zach Britton had like an 860.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Egbert was filthy. This gets into a moral quandary. I don't know how to compare a reliever season to starter seasons. And if
It's
you have
tough.
any way to talk about it, I would love to hear because
So
I'm confused on where to go.
I'm gonna give you some context real quick. So Eric Gagne had a particularly special season in 2003.
Yeah.
So he started off the year really, really good. You know, he had a great start to the year, was in the All-Star game, all that.
Yeah.
But then we get to his last 52 games of the season. Okay. His last 52 games, he strikes out 91 batters.
All right. That's a lot.
He gives up 4 runs.
Okay.
And he gives up 24 hits.
So he has 1 hit every 2 outings?
Yeah.
And only 4 runs?
Opponent batting average 126.
Oh my god! And he was the closer, not just any reliever too. He was the closer.
He was the closer.
And so those are high stress innings. How many saves did he have? 55.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something right now.
Yeah.
In those 52 games, those last 52 games, 45 of them were save opportunities.
Oh my god! So he was pitching high stress closer innings.
Can you guess how many saves he had in those 52 games?
I'm gonna guess 45. I think
45.
Oh my god! Yep. All right. I don't want to argue any of these.
Safe.
That's incredible.
It's maybe the greatest reliever season of all time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, man. That's hearing that because you can't quantify. I guess you can. 45 straight save opportunities. It's hard to quantify that versus what a starting pitcher does and compare the two. There's also I know there's stats that try to talk about this, but like a high stress inning as a reliever, as a closer versus pitching the first 3 innings, like those are different feelings. There's more stress, especially when it's a save opportunity. It is just a more meaningful inning to pitch than a random middle inning of the game. So you're not gonna hear any arguments from me. There was probably some, if I look a little deeper at the data, there's probably some
other
good
guys
pitching.
had good seasons. They had really good seasons. Nothing really stood out.
Right.
Will
we ever see that again from a reliever? I know we have good moments from a Mason Miller or a
Clase or a Devin Williams.
Yeah.
I don't know though.
We're rewarding to Eric Gagne, even though he won it initially. Right?
Yeah, 2003 National League Cy Young reward goes to Eric Gagne of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So, all right, here you go. I got some numbers for you to look at, buddy.
Okay, so not obviously, you may not know this. 2003, Barry Bonds wins the MVP. Holy, I'm looking at a lot of bold and a lot of italicized on that baseball reference page. Because I'm obviously going into this. Barry Bonds wins. Albert Pujols comes in second. Gary Sheffield comes in third. Going into this
at 359.
Yeah, I'm going into this really, really trying to see if Albert Pujols has a shot at winning this award. He does have. That's so funny.
I think he does.
Okay, he leads in batting average at 359. He has the most runs by a lot with 137. 137 runs, 212 hits. That is nearly I say nearly. It's like 80 more than Barry Bonds. It's 79 more than Barry Bonds. 2 less home
Yeah,
runs.
but how many opportunities is Barry Bonds getting to get a
God.
hit? You know, he's being
His team's a lot
walked.
worse. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying he has 148 walks.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't want to touch him. Um, that's a great, something to ponder is because he's getting walked so much that diminishes a lot of oh my God, 148. I'm
Yeah,
just looking at that
my
compared to
my
everyone else in the
favorite
league.
Barry Bonds stat is
Yeah.
that if in 2004, the year after
hmm
this,
hmm
he had more intentional walks than anyone else had total walks.
That's insane. He's ridiculous. He's insane. He's insane. And I know it's hard to divorce, the steroid stuff about Bonds with his actual abilities, but he was maybe the most talented hitter
Ever.
you've ever seen. At least the most feared. You can't even argue that. Um,
I mean, if you want to talk about
mhm,
guys who are as feared as Barry Bonds, you
right.
have to go back to Ted Williams and Babe Ruth.
All right, so if we're comparing Bonds and Pujols, Sheffield's in third. Do we think Sheffield has a legit shot at this? I
No,
don't.
but he had an incredible season
That's
with
an
the
amazing
Braves.
season. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's between Bonds and Pujols.
Yeah. Everyone else here has a really, really good, and even Gagne, 3.7 WAR as a reliever's insane. Um,
I mean, Helton has an incredible year, but
yeah, but it's
tours.
just like these guys have two of the best. Bonds and Pujols have two of the best seasons ever.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they're competing with themselves because they are two of the best hitters of all time. I'm trying to find an argument for Pujols, and I think I can find one. He does play in a lot more games,
Mhm.
so his counting stats are higher. But even still, he has 79 more hits than Barry Bonds, which is a lot. He has 37 minus 11. Quick Sam, that's 26. He has 26 more runs than Albert Pujols. Or than Barry Bonds. Their home runs are, Bonds has them there 45 to 43 in favor of Bonds.
Splitting hairs, yeah.
That's negligible. Albert Pujols has a lot more RBI. He has 124 compared to 90 for Barry Bonds, and that has a lot to do with Bonds getting walked so many times. 148 walks to Pujols 79, so he has him by a good 70.
This
There.
was before Pujols was getting the treatment, like the walk treatment.
Yeah. Is this left fielder, right fielder Pujols? Or is this transition to first base Pujols?
This is left field.
Who was playing first base for the Cardinals here? Tino Martinez. Okay. Yeah, Ryan Ludwig's later. He's on that 06 team, and he wasn't on the
Look
11
at
team,
this
but
team.
dude,
This
Edmonds,
Cardinals team.
Tino
Edmonds,
Martinez.
Pujols, JD Drew,
Uh-huh.
Scott Rowland, Edgar Renteria,
Mhm.
Mike Matheny.
Yeah. This Cardinals team was
Wow.
stacked. Didn't make the playoffs. 85
Jason
and 77.
Isringhausen.
hmm we came in third in a 6-team division for some reason because that existed. 3 games behind the Cubs. Oh, I totally forgot. This is the Cubs. What's his face year? What's his
Bartman.
name? Yeah,
Bartman.
this is the Steve Bartman year. How did we get
Yeah.
this far and not talk about that, including
Against
the
the
Marlins?
Marlins.
Yeah. So,
Although the Marlins,
Mhm.
the Cubs gave up all those runs.
Right.
Like it was gonna happen. And also
Yeah.
the ball was in foul territory.
He has a shot at
So
that. I know. I haven't dissected this moment. I'm sure Cubs fans think about it more often than not. Probably pre
Mhm.
2016 they thought about it a ton. But yeah, this was that's probably the most famous thing that happened this year.
Mhm.
When you think back baseball history.
Yeah.
But enough about those Cubs. This is my time. Pujols Bonds. We got to finally pick one, and I so don't want to.
Going Pujols.
Tell me why. I want to know.
I mean, just what you said. He plays more games. He has the counting
Uh-huh.
stats. He has 212 hits. Bonds plays 157 games. He's not reaching that in hits at all, but it's because of the walks. But still, Pujols has more RBI, about the same homers, more runs, higher batting average. I mean, he wins the major league batting title.
Yeah, and it's Pujols. He's a great hitter, but I don't think of him as a guy that's racking up hits. I think of a
Batting,
guy that's mashing.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
he became more of like a pure power hitter later in his career.
Right.
But like back
Yeah.
then, man, he was incredible.
Quick, Will. Our Pujols leads all of baseball history in one stat. Do you know what it is?
Grounded into double plays.
It's grounded in double plays because that man is slow and always
He's
has been
very
slow.
slow. I don't know if I knew that, but I just figured.
Yeah, I just looked on and he has like one gold and it's career grounded in double plays with
Uh,
426. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that either. Pujols has an amazing season. I love him, obviously. And I'm happy to take away a MVP from that dirty, rotten scoundrel,
all right.
Barry Bonds, and give it to the pure of
To
heart.
the perfect
Yeah.
my sunshine.
So
All right. Are we doing this?
let's do it.
All right. Well, the 2003 National League MVP reward goes to Albert Pujols of the St. Louis Cardinals.
So,
Sam, do you want to put together an all MLB team for 2003?
oh, that would be wonderful. I'd love to.
I've got you. I've got some
Have you already
resources
been-
for you.
Okay, good, because I didn't know where to start.
All right.
Be on the lookout.
Let's pick 5 starting pitchers.
Pedro Martinez has the best ERA in the majors at 2.22 with 186 innings pitched. That's, I would say that's like low innings pitched, but like when you look at the rest of the league, not that many guys have more than 200. And if you like start to get to like the league, like Roy Halladay is the most with 266. How many guys even have above 240? Like,
I think we're gonna say Halladay's on.
Halladay's for sure on. Halladay, and you can, I like this too because you can get a lot of different guys who have different styles of pitching. I say styles, but like, Halladay had he has a higher ERA, but he pitched so many complete games and like has 266 innings, like so much more than everybody else.
Go through. You put together your 5, and I'll put together my 5.
Okay. If I'm doing my 5, I would say Roy Halladay's on there. I would put Pedro on there as well. Beyond that, it gets a little tricky because those two are my outliers in terms of ERA and in terms of innings pitched. And if I'm going by strikeouts, who has a lot of strikeouts? It's Kerry Wood. I would go Kerry Wood. Roy Halladay would be in my top 5 starting pitchers. I'd also go Pedro Martinez. If you have a 5 that you're more solid in, I know my top 3, and then it gets a little harder after that.
I've got a 5.
Okay.
So I don't think I'm including Kerry Wood, but I can respect it.
Yeah.
I got Halladay, Pedro Martinez, Jason Schmidt, Mark Pryor, and Esteban Loaiza.
I was looking at Loaiza. Where is Loaiza? Where did he come in the ERA? 7th. Esteban Loaiza for the White Sox. I'm going to say 30 wins. 21 wins, a 2.9 ERA, 1 complete game, but lots of innings, 207 strikeouts. I like that. And then you said Pryor was in your top 5. So you picked a different Chicago Cub than me. Pryor has a 2.4 ERA compared to Kerry Wood's 3.2, so that's a lot better. Strikeouts wise, Kerry Wood I know has a ton because that's who he is as a person. Kerry Wood has 266, leads the majors, and Mark Pryor has 245. So actually, if I would trade those 20 strikeouts for that much lower of an ERA. So I'm agree with you. I'm going to take out Wood. I'm going to go with Pryor, and then I agree with you with Pedro. We're all in lockstep with Roy Halladay. So the last one you had was Jason Schmidt, and I can see why. He has a 2.34 ERA. That's awesome. 3 shutouts, 5 complete games, which isn't the most, but it's kind of in the middle of this top 20 pack we have here. He had 208 strikeouts, and if you count all the guys that had over 200, it's about like 8. So he's in that top.
It looks like he leads the majors in WHIP.
Wow, he does. He has less. Is he the only guy with a less than 1? It looks like it. So yeah, that's a good top 5. I'm with you on that.
All right. So
and you talked me off of Wood and into
Pryor.
into Mark Pryor. So I agree with that. You're gonna make me pick 7 relievers.
No, just 1.
Okay, I think we're gonna go with.
Yeah, we don't even have to pull it up. Our relief pitcher is going to be Eric Gagne.
Oh, that's not who I was thinking.
I don't know. John Smoltz has a case in his
Yeah.
2 relief seasons. He was great.
Right. Old man Schmaltz.
Catchers.
Catchers. You loved this Javi Lopez season.
Yeah, well, I'm a Braves fan, so
Yeah. His R field. Can you tell me what that is? R
that's
field.
run saved.
Gotcha. 4. Which wait, who was Paul Loduca?
Paulo Duca, Dodgers.
Oh my goodness, 22.
Uh-huh.
Is this like one of the most insane seasons ever? I need to know like what this looks like year to year for Molina, like just comparatively.
Molina
Mhm.
year to year for his R field goes
Yeah.
2, 11, 13, 15, 3, 10, 20, -3,
What year was that?
2011.
Oh, random.
18, 16, 14, 8, -2, 1, -4, 1, 1, 8, 6.
Okay, so it sounds like he was consistently in probably the top 3 of that, but just stay consistent his whole career. Paulo Duga. I'm just impressed by that. I think this is Javi Lopez. Like I think he was the best catcher this year. He has a
Yeah.
1 OPS. His slug is the best. How many home runs does he have? 43. Yeah, like this is he's the best catcher this year.
Mhm.
No debate from me.
Absolutely. All right. First base.
First base. I'm gonna skip the fielding because that's a lot of negative up top.
Mhm.
Got Todd Helton, Carlos Delgado. Carlos Delgado was almost gonna win the MVP award for us, or at least was in the
Yeah.
conversation. So I'm definitely gonna like play it off of him. Does Todd Helton have a better season than Carlos Delgado?
I mean, batting average is ridiculous. He's 1 point lower than Pujols, who led the league.
Yeah, for Helton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 358. Oh my goodness. Todd Helton had a better season, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm giving it to Helton.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Even though I don't think the Coors Field effect is strong enough to where I can take it away from Helton, you know?
Definitely
Like,
not.
his numbers are definitely inflated,
Right.
but that OPS plus is just slightly lower, and the
Well,
batting
look,
average gets him.
when I think of Coors effect, I'm thinking of long fly, like I'm thinking of home runs, right? I'm
Mhm.
not thinking that the Coors effect turns singles into doubles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's I could be wrong about all the different effects. Like I know there's a pitching effect to Coors as well, but I'm
Mhm.
thinking about what Coors does. A lot of these stats aren't actually like necessarily affected.
By, like, thin air.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, Todd
Mhm.
Helton. So, our first baseman out of thin air
Good one.
is Todd Helton.
Mhm. So
Here's your
second base.
baseman. Mhm.
All right, Marcus. Is it Giles or Giles? Help me out here.
Giles.
That's what I
Giles.
thought. Oh yeah, for your Atlanta Braves,
Mhm.
7.9 WAR at second base.
His
That's
defense.
yeah.
Him
mean,
and
yeah, his
Fakal up the middle was
Oof,
lethal.
that's unfair. 19 defensive runs saved.
Mhm.
Placido Polanco, 15.
Mhm.
Orlando Hudson at 18. Dang. So this is a position that helps like inflate that stat. I feel now that I'm looking at this. This and probably shortstop.
Mhm.
Up the middle.
Like, you get
But
1 for every double play turned almost,
right,
you know?
right. 316 batting average. That it looks like it's leading all second basemen to me for Marcus Giles.
I think it's between him and Alfonso Soriano.
Yeah, Alfonso Soriano has way more at bats than him, like 130 more. But his counting stats aren't that much higher. You know,
Mhm.
he has only 17 more hits, less doubles, a few triples, but that's random. A lot more home runs. That's what Soriano has going for him. He has
And steals.
35 steals and 90 wait, or
91
38 home
RBI.
runs. Yeah. All right. I'm looking at the top 3 because I don't discount Brett Boone here.
Mm-mm. But
He
I kinda do, because if you're
yeah,
going between him and Soriano, it's
yeah.
Soriano.
That's true because I was really inflating his home runs, but Soriano has more home runs. And stolen bases, Soriano has a lot more.
And
Um,
Soriano doesn't have the RBIs because he's leading off.
yeah, he has way less walks, and way more strikeouts actually. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I might be going Giles. Giles has a lot better.
I think the defense puts Giles over the top.
I agree. If defense is like a good tiebreaker here, Giles has way better averaging stats and 551 at bats. So it's not like it's like a way less version of that. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna go Giles.
Alright, we're going Marcus Giles for the second baseman.
hmm I will count. Okay. Oh. I know Scott Rowland for obvious reasons. I know Aaron Boone for obvious reasons. Beltre, Troy Gloss, I know.
Yeah, former Brave.
Yeah, he was a Cardinal for a minute, I think.
He was.
Let's see. Eric Hinsky, I recognize.
See,
Aramis Ramirez, I recognize. That's
it's
about
weird because this is like A-Rod's at short, Chippers in left.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right. This is weird. All right. I don't know who Hank Blaylock is. I'll be real with
Very
you.
good.
Yeah, looks like it.
I think he gets it.
I'm not. Yeah, 27 defensive runs saved. No one else
Which
is even
is
close. Beltier's 25,
insane.
but right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So 90 RBI, 29 homers, leads third baseman in homers, or at least ties for the lead there. 170 hits. He's up in the top 2 for that. 105. That's just breaking down. 90 RBI. That's in that top percentile as well. Batting average 300.
Now the OPS plus kind of lets me down a little bit.
117. Yeah, that's not really high. You have Bill Mueller.
He's in Texas. Texas was a huge hitter's park when they were in Arlington.
Really? So that takes out like a lot of his like OPS plus is like factoring that in, right?
Yeah.
Bill Mueller is 140. And yeah, if I'm looking at just top OPS plus as like a starting point, is that Scott Rowland is 138.
Yeah, I think it's between. Well, I don't know. Rowland has a bad defensive year for some reason.
Yeah, he does, and that's not what he's known for. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's between Blaylock and Chavez.
Eric Chavez for the Oakland A's. Let's looky. 126 OPS plus. That's pretty good. 864 OPS. That's good. It's not elite. Slug is 514. That's pretty good. I don't know. 89 strikeouts is a little high compared to 62 walks. Gosh, Hank Blaylock had 97 strikeouts to 44 walks. That might like take him officially out of my running. He had 101 RBI. Eric Chavez did. He had 29 home runs. That's leading all third basemen. I would not be upset with Eric Chavez getting this.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, and he's
third
positive.
Base, yeah, third base goes to Eric Chavez. Shortstop.
All right, here's.
I think we can just go ahead.
It's Alex Rodriguez. Yeah. We don't even need to look at this. I mean, those are some good names. Great seasons from Garcia.
Edgar Renteria has a great season. Just not a very good fielder.
No. And it's position where you kind of got to be.
Yeah, it's A-Rod. So Alex Rodriguez is a shortstop. Outfield.
Okay, so Pujols and Bonds are gonna be in it like automatically, right? Like that's like not a question. The question
Sheffield.
is Sheffield, do we just want to go straight chalk 1, 2, 3? I want to look at Sheffield and Edmonds because we talked about having a center fielder that is the designated center fielder, right? How do you feel about that?
I don't care.
You don't care, just 3 outfielders?
Yeah, that's how I do it.
If you have an outfield of Bonds, Pujols, and Sheffield, though, who are you putting in center?
Sheffield.
What was his? He was a left fielder as well. Or was a right fielder?
He was a right fielder.
Yeah.
I think early in his career you put Bonds in center, but not late.
No, I feel like he was like a tank late. And
he's 38 in this season. I didn't even realize that.
And he still went for like another how many years? Like 4 or 5?
He retired in 07.
Okay, so another 4 years after this. So,
and he won another MVP.
That's Sheffield over Edmonds, and
so
do I even need to go further down? So
yeah, our outfielders are going to be Barry Bonds, Albert Pujols, and Gary Sheffield. Gary Sheffield should be in the Hall of Fame.
Is he not?
No, he's not. He has 500 homers. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
I feel like there's very few members of the 500 club that aren't in the Hall of Fame, right?
He's like it's him and the steroid guys.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. And we are going to finish with designated hitter.
Yay. Are we going to pick from every hitter left on the board or specifically designated hitters?
I think we should do specifically designated hitters because just to give them a shot.
I feel that's fair. Yeah. All right. I'm trying to think of, Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas is ranked number 1 here. He has 4.3 WAR, ranked first place by WAR. 87 runs, 146 hits. That 146 is leading all remaining DHs. He has 42 dingers, and that's the most out of all of them. Palmeiro has 38, but no one else is in the same ballpark as those two guys. 105 RBI, 100 walks to 115 strikeouts. That's a pretty good ratio, especially when you saw like David Ortiz, like a guy that I would have rallied for and have rallied for in the past on this show. He has 58 walks to 83 strikeouts, so that's not great. The batting average is a little lacking for Thomas. He has 267. Edgar Martinez, he has a 294 batting average. So that's pretty high. What are Edgar's other stats? 146 hits. Okay. 72 runs. That's fine. So OPS plus is 141. So he's kind of right up there with Frank Thomas. And I like that walk to strikeout ratio is kind of in the same ballpark.
I'm going Frank Thomas.
I guess when you look at OPS, Frank Thomas has a 952. Ortiz is a 961, but I really hate that strikeout to walk ratio. And then Edgar Martinez, the only other guy I'm considering, has a 895. So he's much lower in OPS. So I agree. Frank Thomas.
Our 2003 All MLB team is starting pitchers are Roy Halladay, Mark Pryor, Pedro Martinez, Jason Schmidt, and Esteban Loaiza.
Well done.
Our relief pitcher is Eric Gagne. Our catcher is Javi Lopez. Our first baseman is Todd Helton. Second baseman is Marcus Giles. Third baseman is Eric Chavez. Our shortstop is Alex Rodriguez. Our outfielders are Albert Pujols, Barry Bonds, and Gary Sheffield. And our DH is Frank Thomas.
That is a lot of pop on this team.
AL MVP stayed with Alex Rodriguez. Our NL MVP went to Albert Pujols. Our AL Cy Young stayed with Roy Halladay. Our NL Cy Young stayed with Eric Gagne. Our AL Rookie of the Year was Hideki Matsui. Our NL Rookie of the Year was
Brandon Webb.
Brandon Webb. So, that's it. Thank you for listening. I'm Will.
I'm Sam.
And this has been the Reward Show. It is not filmed in front of a live studio audience. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
There's a trophy on your shelf. Does it belong to someone else? When we go